like we have a healthy number of questions. Okay, first question. Is an individual board member legally required to be named on the association's liquor license? As a newly elected board member, do I have the right to refuse to be named on the association's liquor license? This is not disclosed in our association documents, nor was it mentioned during the candidate interview process. In a prior life of mine, I worked for Miller Brewing Company in their legal department as a law clerk. And I do know that there are state by state, every state has a different, liquor laws. And I have heard this requirement before from other associations. I guess what I would want to do is find out, who is requiring this? Is it the state? And is it mandatory that all board members be on it? These would be questions that I would ask if I were you. And is there, of course you can refuse. I mean, you have rights as a board member, but is that going to jeopardize the association's liquor license would be the questions that I would have. And so I don't know the specific answer on this one because I don't know enough about your liquor license. I don't know enough about the situation, but these are all questions that I would be asking as a board member, and you can talk to your legal counsel about this. I'm guessing they're probably already involved in this as well. Okay, next question. If 4 officers of a 9-officer board are meeting to set a meeting agenda, but if they in fact make decisions impacting the operations of the condo association, is that a violation of the open meeting law? So 4 out of 9 board members is not a quorum of the board. And so if they're meeting, that's a loophole in the open meeting law. Less than a quorum can meet to discuss association business. Where it becomes problematic is if they're making decisions that should be board decisions. And those board decisions need to be made at a meeting of the members with a quorum by a majority vote of the owners. So I don't know enough about the facts of this situation. I don't know if they're making it at this less than quorum meeting, but decisions regarding the community need to be made at an open board meeting by a quorum of the board, a majority of a quorum of the board. Number 3, barring a suit for breach of duty, can a board recommend to its owners that a rogue director be recalled? Oh, this is a difficult situation. Board recalls. As a matter of fact, we were just kind of talking internally as a board. I think we had a lot of questions on board recalls recently at a class I taught online. Well, first, if you want information about how to recall your board, we have blog articles on this on our website. And by recall, I mean it would be like remove your board from office. We also have number 6 on our top 10 things you need to know about community association law cheat sheet. Number 6 is how to remove a board member from office. So can a board get involved in recommending to its owners that a rogue director be recalled? I really am not in favor of the board being the spearhead on this. There's nothing in the law that says that the board can't do this, but it seems unfair on a number of different levels because the board is using its resources to remove that director from office. And, that could be considered a breach of their fiduciary responsibility to the corporation. On the flip side, it could be considered a breach if they don't do it, if this person is really a problem and, maybe they're stealing money from the association or something, I don't know. So I think that can be argued both ways. But from my perspective, I don't like seeing a board teaming up on another board member to try to get them removed. If we have a board member that's not doing a good job, you follow the procedure under the law. And the procedure under the law is that there's a petition that is circulated to the membership. And it's fine if the board members want to sign that they certainly have the right to do that. If the board members are taking that door to door, they shouldn't be doing it in their board member capacity. They should be saying clearly, I'm doing this as a homeowner, not as a board member. Although it would be best if it was other homeowners doing it and not the board members. And you just need to follow the procedure under Arizona law. So, I don't think the board should get involved in recommending. And I think it's best if the board stay away from being the spearhead or the leader on a recall of another board member. But of course, they can sign the petition. They can vote yes as a homeowner to remove the person. That's all within your rights. Okay, question number 4. What can a homeowner do when their HOA isn't notifying members of any board meetings? We are being told there haven't been any board meetings. However, we had a special meeting to vote on a special assessment that homeowners had no information about. What is the best way to handle a board of directors that is being rude to you at a meeting or calling you names? Okay, I'm seeing a lot of problems with this board. 3 different problems here. So number 1, all boards have to have board meetings, right? You're required at a minimum to have an annual meeting every year. But usually in your bylaws, you have to have regular board meetings to conduct your association's business. So under Arizona law, under the open meeting law, we have to give 48 hours notice of any board meeting. So your board should be properly noticing the meeting and conducting regular board meetings, each month or quarterly to conduct business. They had to have some sort of a discussion because they sent out a ballot on a special meeting, right? And so there had to be a quorum of the board, discussing that, and then a majority agreeing to send out a ballot. So it appears that there may be some violations of the open meeting law by your board. What's the best way to handle a board being rude or calling you names? I wish I had kind of covered this a little more in my presentation, so I'm so glad you brought this up. Okay, what are your options if you're an owner and you're dealing with a difficult board? Well, first, document your concerns. So if you've been treated poorly, do a short, concise letter just saying that, what happened and why you feel that this was not appropriate behavior. Then, consider the removal petition that we just talked about, right? Circulate a removal petition. Consider running for the board yourself. These are all different things you can do. Hire a lawyer to write a letter for you. Hire a lawyer to file a lawsuit. Go to the Arizona Department of Real Estate, file a petition. There's lots of different options you have if you, feel your board is not acting appropriately. Now, them being rude or calling you names, probably not rising to the level of going to the ADRE or filing a lawsuit. But if that in conjunction with them, violating your documents, then it's crossing over into that territory. Okay, next question. Number 5, can a board meet without notice and decide to give a long-term serving board member that is moving a $100 gift and ask me, the association manager, to write her a direct check to pay for the gift? How do I handle this? Oh, that's a sticky situation for you as a manager. Okay, number 1, this is not a good idea. The board violated the open meeting law by meeting, discussing this, and deciding to do it, outside of a board meeting. Then they're asking you to write a personal check, which is totally inappropriate. The manager should never be intervening like this, writing a personal check. That is just on its face wrong. Any association expenditure should be from the association's bank accounts, and asking the manager to do this, something that already is something I would never recommend doing, is just uncomfortable and not a good situation. Even giving gifts to board members when they leave, it's just not a good idea, because unless it's in your documents that you have the right to do that, you just don't do that. When you serve on the board, it's a thankless job. You're not going to be getting gift cards. You probably have some homeowners who won't like you at the end of your term. It's not, something that you come out of with, a big influx of gift cards and new friends. And, unfortunately it's not. And so I would advise against using association funds for this type of a gift card. I just know on my board, if we have something where we want to do something nice, like we've had a board member's, relative pass away or they're sick, the board members just throw in the money themselves and send flowers to the person. We're not using association funds for that. So how do you as a board member, as a manager, handle this? I think you just say that unfortunately, my code of ethics doesn't allow me to do this, and if the board's giving you pushback on it, go higher up in your management company and get support for them to support you that you can't do this. Okay, next question, number 6. We are a planned community. We just established a maintenance chart because for about 30 years, the HOA was maintaining decks, windows, fences. Now the chart clearly states that homeowners are responsible for maintaining their unit, your townhomes. We have a homeowner that has foundation issues that the inspector found before he purchased the unit. 18 years ago, the HOA repaired the foundation in this unit. Now he wants the HOA to pay for the repairs again. I think this person plans to sue the HOA. Are we responsible for repairs to the foundation? I think this person is going to sue for the HOA to repair. Really hard for me to answer this question because I need to see your CC&Rs to see what are the HOA responsibilities in your planned community and what are the owner responsibilities. You say you're a planned community, although you also say unit, which is consistent with condo, townhomes, can either be a planned community or condominium, depending on who owns the common areas. So I'm really mixed up and confused about what you actually might be. Look at the sections in your documents on maintenance. So what is the owner responsible to maintain? What is the association responsible to maintain? Talk with your attorney, have your attorney weigh in on this. If the owner is threatening to sue the association, you need to put your insurance carrier on notice of a possible claim as the board. And hopefully once you look at the documents, it'll be crystal clear who's responsible for what, and you can respond back with the written documentation showing the owner this is who's responsible for maintaining it. Just because you may have done it in the past doesn't mean you have to do it this time. Okay, number 7, we're getting a lot of questions on open meeting law. Maybe that's a sign to me that we need to do a class on this. We have a board member who insists that all board discussions are done via email. We have a board member who insists that all board discussions are done via email violate the open meeting law. Is that true? I mean, it really just depends. I don't know what you're voting on. You have to be really careful as a board on making decisions via email that really should be done during a properly noticed open board meeting where a quorum of the board is present. The purpose of the open meeting law is so that owners can listen and participate when the board's making decisions. And if you're doing these decisions by email, it could be a violation of the open meeting law. So we have a great cheat sheet on the open meeting law that I want you to take a look at. I think we also have some blogs on our website on using email to make decisions. One time you can use email is if there's an emergency and you can't wait 48 hours to make a decision. There would be an exception to make, an emergency decision by email. You would need to include the minutes of that emergency meeting or the emails where whatever action is taken, like, to contact the insurance about the fire at the clubhouse. That's going to be an emergency typically. You would keep those emails where everybody voted to contact the insurance company and make a claim. And then at the next board meeting, you read into the record what was decided. Now, I'm a realist here, and I know that some boards, including my own, sometimes are making decisions by email quickly. And so be careful on that, because what you really need to have is a paper trail that you've made these decisions. So at the next board meeting, after the meeting that you may have made a decision by email, reaffirm that decision in the board meeting minutes so that there's proof that this was discussed and voted on at an open board meeting. Next question, number 8. If the board has one seat available for re-election at this time and no one is running except the person who currently holds the spot, is it necessary to hold an election even if there is no opponent running? So short answer, yes. Your documents do require us to have an election every year. Question 9, what is the purpose of a board of directors requesting formal member approval of the association's 2022 annual financial statements and the 2023 budget? It just depends. If you're a condominium, you may have a requirement under your documents to have the owners approve the budget and the financial statement. Maybe they're just doing it because they want to get homeowner input. I don't know what the purpose of your specific association is. I do know if you're a condo and that's a requirement in your documents, you are required to do it. Maybe they just are doing it to get feedback. I don't know. Okay, number 10, usually the board, just so you know, votes on the budget unless the documents require homeowners to vote on it. Next question, number 10. Is the bill on political activity applicable for HOA board elections only or real elections and campaigns or both? That's a really good question. I'm going to have my office cut and paste that law in there, and then I'll come back to that at the end so I can take a closer look at it. Okay, number 11. And remember that bill hasn't been signed by the governor just yet. Okay, question number 11. What is the recourse when the board president and the management company do not hold regular and annual meetings in violation of the governing documents and the management company contract? They do not invite all homeowners and they refuse to conduct Zoom meetings. Boy, I'm hearing that a lot today on this, class, people not complying with the open meeting law. Okay, A, what's the recourse? So document it in writing first. Document your concerns in writing so there's a paper trail. You can go to the Department of Real Estate and file a complaint or petition, whatever, with the Arizona Department of Real Estate. And then you can go in front of an administrative law judge, and the judge will rule that, they're violating the law and your documents by not doing this. Another thing, recourse would be to hire an attorney, demand that the attorney demands in the letter that you need to conduct this and why. You could file a lawsuit. You can run for the board. You can have the board removed. These are all different options that you have. They don't have to have Zoom meetings. Just you need to hear that from me. They do have to have meetings, though, or properly noticed. Most of our clients have switched now and are doing Zoom board meetings. Some are doing some in person, some Zoom, but very few are doing only in person with no Zoom. Next question, number 12. What can we do about a board member that leaks information through his wife to the community and spreads wrong information to stir up the pot in our community? Ooh, that's bad. Okay, so a couple things. The code of conduct that I talked about earlier in this presentation is a great tool because in the code of conduct, it talks about the duty of confidentiality and that will make all the owners sign it. If I were handling this situation, I would bring that to the board, ask all board members to sign it. I would raise the issue with the owner or the board member that is leaking the information or that we think is leaking the information. I would hit it straight on with that person and say, we're hearing feedback that this is happening. What's going on? Hear what they say. They may say, I'm not telling my wife anything, but my wife is Mrs. Kravitz, the person from Bewitched who's in everybody's business. Then we may need to talk to the board member about, well, this is, causing harm to our association. Please ask her to stop doing that. What can you do if the board member is actually really doing this and he's in cahoots with his wife? We go through the same process. You can go to the Department of Real Estate. We can have the attorney for the association write the board member a letter. We can file a lawsuit. We can remove the director from office. Those are all the different options that we have. Okay, question 13. As a previous 6-year board member, the board said yesterday in our board meeting that I could not serve on a committee because I did not attend the last social event in February. How do I address that calmly? Well, maybe look at the documents. Does it say that you can't be on a committee if you don't attend a social event? I don't know. It depends. Maybe a majority of the board is making this decision and you're outvoted. I don't know the facts on this. I think what I would do, is I would tell, just stay calmly back your points on this. I've served on the board for 6 years. I love being on this committee. I'd like to continue serving on it. I'm not aware of anything under the law that says I can't serve on this. I'm not aware of anything under documents that says I can't. So I just would like a reason why you're not having me be on the committee. And then see what they say. Okay, next question. The president yells to the treasurer, "You are not going to approve invoices, sign contracts, and communicate with the property management company. I am going to be the only one approving payments, signed contracts, and communicate with property management during the board meeting. And the rest of the board members, 3 of them, don't say anything. How do I handle this situation?" Well, I'm seeing some interboard fighting in some of the questions here today. I mean, I think it's kind of like the same thing as the last question with the committee not being asked to be on the committee. Excuse me. Be calm, be rational, get out the bylaws and show them what the responsibilities are of the treasurer. The treasurer has direct responsibilities for, the financial affairs of the association. So approving invoices appears to be right up your bailiwick. Signing contracts. I mean, as a board member, you approve a contract as one of the many votes on the board. Signing the contracts, it depends who has that right to do it under your documents, your bylaws. Typically, the president does sign the contracts. Communicate with the property management. I mean, usually all board members have direct access to property management unless one of the board members is a problem. And so that just needs to be discussed as your board, how that's going to be handled. Okay, number 15, what is the state requirement for mailing out notices for violations and ARC approvals or denials? I have a great cheat sheet on this topic. It's on enforcement of governing documents. I also have a good cheat sheet on architectural review. Look at your documents too. Do your documents have a time period that you have to respond to deny an application or to approve an application? If there is a violation of somebody has painted their house the wrong color without getting approval, we're going to want to follow, the requirements under state law. We suggest that in the initial contact with the owner, you list the whole categories of information, such as who saw the violation, who witnessed it, what section is being violated, what our remedies are, et cetera. They're all listed in that cheat sheet. So I encourage you to take a look at that. Okay, we are down to let's see, some questions have been added. So we are currently on question number 16 and we have 24 questions. Okay, how does the HOA deal with neighborhood cats? Some residents put their cat out for the night and the cats roam the hood. Several cats have been recorded on our security cameras that have come into our front porch and backyard. What's irritating is the marking and spraying of their scent. I do not know if they are abandoned, feral, or otherwise. What is your recommendation? Well, cats usually come around looking for food. So make sure that you don't have like a dog bowl out or water, because that may be why they're coming to your property. If you know that the cats belong to a certain resident, like you can tell, oh, this is so-and-so's cat based upon appearances, you may want to contact that owner as a board and say, we don't allow cats to be roaming in our property. Hopefully you have a rule on that. My recommendation would be reach out to the owners that the cats belong to, and ask them not to allow this. If it's feral cats, you have to check with, your local humane society. Sometimes feral cats can be a good thing because they kill the rats and the mice. So some associations are, okay with that. But if there's somebody putting out food for them, they're never going to leave. So maybe that's the way to solve the problem. They go where the food is. So maybe a violation to letter, such as somebody on the food, maybe bringing in the Humane Society to get some advice, are all some different recommendations. Question number 17, what can homeowners do when the board just gives lip service to many issues, but nothing actually ever gets done, accomplished, or addressed? Just so you know, that is the biggest complaint of both board members and homeowners regarding their association. Our board also does not hold management company accountable for anything. So nothing gets done via that avenue either. Okay, so what can homeowners do? You can run for the board. You can remove the board. You can start documenting your concerns regarding nothing ever getting done. You can start documenting your concerns that the management company isn't doing their job. These are all different things that you can do to make this situation better. Okay, question number 18. In regards to harassment, I've documented 3 incidents where I believe our property manager has been doing the harassing. What can be done? I don't know if you're a homeowner or a board member. So, I mean, obviously it's a concern that you think the property manager is harassing you or somebody else. Document your concerns to the board. Document your concerns to the management company, and the president of the management company would be what I would do as a starting point. Question number 19. I am a board member and outgoing board president. While president, my term, as indicated above, ended last month. I indicated to the entire board best practices is for 1 hour or less board meeting duration. What would you say to a fellow board member who is secretary, treasurer, who is dedicated, engaged, detail-oriented, and offers extensive and detailed comments on everything on the agenda? Approval of the minutes can take up to 10 minutes due to this approach, and therefore regular monthly board meetings routinely extend beyond 2 hours. Okay, 2 things. Look at our cheat sheet on board meetings. We give you tips on how to have a board meeting in an hour or less. You as the president or outgoing president, whoever's going to be the new president, you set the agenda. You set the tone for the meetings. If you have an agenda that has timed increments on it, like establishment of quorum, 7 p.m., 7:01 to 7:05, approval of last month's meeting minutes, 7:05 to 7:10, manager's report, 7:10 to 7:20, president's report, 7:20 to 7:30, treasurer's report. And the president keeps us on this timed agenda. And if you can't make a decision on the meeting minutes, then you just move to next month and you look at this issue again. I mean, you have to control the person on your board who is a detail nut. Like, remember, we just talked about this on the DISC personality sheet, right? The cheat sheet. That secretary that you have is probably a C personality type. And like I said, they're the high detail. They want to analyze and overanalyze and talk through and re-talk through. Now, those people can be great members of your board. And it sounds like this person is currently serving as a treasurer. We need a detailed person there because we need to be looking at the bank statements. We need to be carefully analyzing the invoices when we're paying bills. But there's ways to manage that person. Go to my cheat sheet. Look at what the best way, the strengths and the weaknesses of a C. Some things that I would do if somebody was making my meeting that long is I would say, you know, since you seem to have a lot of comments on the minutes coming into the meeting, I want those comments already be listed in the manager's packet so that we already have them. So you got to get those comments well in advance to the manager so that those can be included. So you're cutting out the time right there for all the comments that they're making. They're already there. Everybody can read them in 30 seconds or less. And, you know, if this person is like a showboat, sometimes you get showboat people where they're lonely and they come to the meeting, they want attention and adulation or whatever. You just have to deal with that, you know, and stay on task. You know, if they're making the meeting longer, then put time limitations on how long people can comment on things as board members. No board should have to have a meeting that is an hour or more if they don't want to. There are plenty of ways to do that. So look at that cheat sheet. We give you a lot of good tips. Okay, the next question is question number 20. Are you aware of any cities that offer a process for resolving disputes between or among homeowners? There are a couple of cities that have like mediation department. And so what I would do is recommend that you Google the city that you live in and Google like whatever the city is, ABC city and neighborhood services or city name and mediation, and find out if your city has that type of a service, or call the general information line for your city and ask that question, or ask for the neighborhood services department. They should be able to answer that for you. Question 21. What is the board's role in mediating disputes between homeowners that transcend HOA rules and regulations? Our board keeps getting dragged in, and it's not clear our role legally and or practically. So there's a dispute between homeowners, like a Hatfield and McCoy type dispute between neighbors. And so I think that's what you mean by transcend our rules and regs. And we keep getting dragged in. So get your attorney involved, because we want to make sure that it's not something we need to be involved in. It's not like a fair housing issue where somebody is discriminating against a neighbor, because we might have to get involved in that. If it's truly just a Hatfield and McCoy type thing, and I don't know, it might be dog barking. That might be something we have to get involved in. So look at what the complaints are and then get some advice from your trusted advisors. Hey, is this an association issue or is this an owner issue? If it's an owner issue, we write a letter to both owners and say, we received complaints from both sides or one side. We just want to let you know this is not an association issue. Okay, the next question is, let's see. We are a 55 and over community, and we have a homeowner we believe has a grandson under 10 living with her. We have approached her, but she denies he's living with her over and over. He's been spotting, only entering and exiting the home. What can we do as she is non-compliant with our HOA documents? So just because this person is entering and exiting the home, this 10-year-old, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's living with her, unless, the person is there all the time and you see them going to school every morning and then coming home from school and they don't leave, so I'd have to know a little bit more on the facts, but, maybe you need to get your attorney involved to write this owner a letter to find out more information about who's living with her and how often this resident is there would be probably my suggestion, since she's denying it. And then I'd also want to hear what evidence you have that this child is living there full time. And sometimes you have a situation where they're just there for 30 days or 60 days. There's a health problem or something with parents. Listen and get advice from your legal counsel as to how to best manage that. Okay, question number 23. Our HOA Board's amendment of the CC&Rs was voted down several months ago. On the unsecured website the board has not taken down the 6 documents that were failed CC&R amendments. I've asked the board member in charge to take down these documents. He's refused, and he has not taken this decision to the board. He makes it on his own. How do I handle? Well, I'd write the board and the management company and just say, well, because this particular owner, because this particular amendment didn't pass, it's not appropriate that it's still on the website. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to go back to question number 23. HOA boards, let's see, question number 24. What is the difference in authority between a board president and the other board roles? So we have a great cheat sheet on the president and vice president and other board member roles. We also have a cheat sheet on board member roles and responsibilities. So what you need to do for your association, I want you to look at both of those. We're going to be sharing them. What you need to do is look at your bylaws for your association. The bylaws for your association will state what the specific responsibility and authority is of the board president. And the bylaws under the officer section will also state what the other officers' responsibilities are. The next question is number 25. What do we do if HOA management is not posting meeting minutes at all, or if the minutes are only posted in draft form? Well, they're not required to post meeting minutes at all. So, what you could do is ask them to start posting them because owners want more information. You could ask for a copy of them and then you could post it if they'll let you. But it's not a requirement under the law to do that. It's best practices, of course. We always want management companies and managers to send out the meeting minutes to everybody. But it's not required under the law unless it's required under your documents, which would be kind of unusual. Okay, so I am going to go back to the question that I said I wanted a little more information on. So on question 10, the question was, does the bill that's sitting on the governor's desk on political activity, does it apply only to HOA board elections or also real elections, meaning like city, state, federal elections, or both? If you are an association that does not restrict vehicular or pedestrian access, okay, so you don't have a gate or you don't have a keypad to get in, there's one analysis for that. And then there's another analysis for, if you are one that restricts vehicular access. So if you have an association that restricts vehicular access, this law appears to indicate that, there can be door-to-door solicitations on any one of these topics, whether they're HOA related or related to the political process. It's not HOA related. I think that was your main question. What you were asking for is, does this apply to real elections, campaigns, or both? So if we go to subsection H, it doesn't, limit one or the other. So I think that owners can go door to door for association issues or non-association issues. So if we go to, if you're just open streets where there's no, gate prohibiting from people going through, associations cannot prohibit, for people to go, door to door, if they want to regarding, candidate petitions, initiatives, whatever. So it's just a slight distinction. And I honestly, like I said, I don't see this being a big issue in gated communities where owners are going, door to door to talk about these issues. It might be if you've got a big issue in your community, but owners are always welcome to just say, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, or not answer the door. And to be perfectly honest with you, this was already happening in associations that have a high controversy level. It was already happening, and probably what prompted this law, if I had to guess, would be that somebody wanted to make sure it was codified that owners had the right to do this. Okay, so good clarification on that new law. Remember, it's sitting on the governor's desk, and we'll be doing a full analysis in a really easy to understand format once we hear whether or not the governor has signed that new law. Okay, our conclusion for today. We have some additional free learning opportunities, of course, throughout the rest of 2022. So be sure to be checking out our website for information on our upcoming classes. Our website's at mulcahylawfirm.com. Tomorrow evening, I'm going to be teaching a virtual class for the city of Chandler. They're doing a special spring HOA Academy mini-series. And we're going to be discussing that tomorrow night. It's going to be on hot topics in our industry right now. You can visit our website for more information. We're going to be talking about electric vehicle charging stations, short-term rentals, rental restrictions, water restriction in Arizona, you name it, anything that's a hot topic right now in Arizona, we're going to be talking about it. And so it's from 5 to 6:30 p.m. on Zoom. You can register if you go to our website to find out more information on this. Today, I'm really happy to announce that we had over 103 live viewers on Zoom, which is awesome, and many others joining us on Facebook Live. So thank you so much for you being here today and wanting to make your associations better. We have one more, another learning opportunity that I want to talk about. Friday, May 5th, 9 a.m., we're going to be having our free Friday free call-in, first Friday free call-in, where I answer HOA and condo legal questions live. You can find additional information on this first Friday on our website as well. And then don't forget, in May, we also have our fifth class of our virtual HOA Condo Academy. And the topic is going to be long-term planning for HOAs and condos. And we're going to be talking about finances, reserves, and 1, 5, 10, and 15-year planning for HOAs and condos. So I hope you'll join us for any of these learning opportunities that I've mentioned in the future. Don't forget to check out our website for the listing of classes and how to register. All these classes are virtual. And also to take a look at our cheat sheets and our videos of our prior classes that we've taught. Thanks again for being here today. I hope everybody has a great day and look forward to seeing you at future classes. Take care. Bye.